been talking to a bunch of people, and I want to go over price labs today because it's a pricing tool, right? We know that. We know it's going to help us. It's dynamic pricing. But there's a lot of things within price labs that you can play with to really customize it to yourself. Because remember this, price labs is a dynamic pricing tool for our short-term rentals, but it's a overall algorithm based on demand in the area, based on how far out it is and stuff like that. But it doesn't dig down to your area quite as well. You need to be the master of your area, and you need to keep changing the settings in order to tweak it, to get it where you want it for your market. Before I keep going and talk about how I set up my price labs and some of the features in price labs that I may or may not use, do me a favor. If you like this, it would help me out a whole lot and take you about a second. Just hit that subscribe button for me, and then the notification bell or the like would be great too. But subscribe is really what I need. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. As of this taping, I'm at 190, so I'm moving up slow and steady. Thank you all that subscribe to me. I really appreciate you, and thank you all that will be subscribing to me. I will be appreciating you once you subscribe, you know. At a base level, Price Labs takes demand for that day that it's seeing in the future, and then also combines that with the amount of time out it is. So if it's longer out, they're actually going to add more money to it. So I'm not going to go over minimum, maximum base price. That's basic. I will let you know one thing, I leave my maximum wide open. So basically, if they want to charge a ton, that's fine, but I'm going to have some things in place so that it starts coming down as we get closer to time. Here's the first thing before you start your pricing plan. You need to have a strategy. My strategy is protect the calendar, and I know certain things. I know people book within 30 days in Kissimmee, Florida, where I have mine. I know people book right now within 14 days up north in the Conway, Bartlett, and Madison area. So you can see you really need to know that, because if I'm going to drop my prices 30 days out by a large amount, then obviously I'm doing myself and my clients a disservice because I am actually dropping it way too early and missing out on getting the maximum amount I can get. Now here's how I drop prices. I do it on a gradual level. So I do start 30 days out. There is a feature in Price Labs where you can say, okay, based on this many days, drop the price. You can say a fixed rate, you can say a percentage, but what I use is called a gradual percentage. So 30 days out, it's going to start dropping the price little by little by little by little and more. I'm using 20% right now until we get really, really close. Then you're going to have the best pricing that you can have so I can get that place booked. So I'm trying to get the best price I can for it, but I'm going to slowly drop it until I get somebody in there. Unless it's mud season, you know, doing the best you can, but it's mud season. It's hard to get people up there. Here's another big thing within there. Minimum and maximum amount of days stayed. Look at Florida. I want people to stay for the whole week. On average, people stay for 5 days down there. Sometimes in the hot summer months and the other months that are slow, we actually have people come for weekends just to use the hot tub and the pool and the slides and the lazy river and have like a little birthday party or something like that. We've had it a lot. So what I want to do is I want more days, right? So I have a setting within Kissimmee, Florida that says, look, if you are more than 60 days out, I need 5 days booked. I want a whole week booked if you're more than that time out. Yeah, I know a week is 7 days, but let's say a work week, all right? But as we get closer, within 30 days, I drop it to 3 days. So that way I can start trying to get the people in. If I can't get a full week, maybe at least I can get a weekend. But what you're doing is you're making it so you're gonna try to get that full week. And nobody can book a 3-day during that time span because they book 3 and somebody else books 3 and somebody wants a week. Now I have 3 or 4 days that's, you know, not there because we don't have the weekend with it. I would suggest going through and trying to figure out, are you a weekend market? Are you a week market? And set up your stays based on that. Because I don't have 7-day stays, 60 days out typically within my properties up in Conway unless it is summertime months on a lake where we do have a lot of 7-day stays. That's a weekend market where you see more people coming on the weekends except in the summer. Again, know your market so you know exactly how to set up your minimum stays. So I talked about mud time, right? That's a seasonality thing. Up in Conway, we have winter. We have fall, we have summer, and we have mud. Because when winter melts, everything just turns to mud. And that's a month that, you know, we don't get many bookings up there. But winter and summer is strong, and fall is pretty good for leaf peeping up there too. So you can actually have seasonality set within Price Labs. You go in there, and what I have it set up right now is basically winter is my base. I add onto my base price when summer comes, because that's a heavy month. When mud season is here, I take a large amount off, percentage of the base price, and in fall I take a small amount off of the base price. So you can see that you can actually set a base price so you can play with it, and it will play and change throughout the entire year based on what's happening with that seasonality. Now if we're talking Florida, we don't have much seasonality in Florida. I have May and August, which I don't do quite so well because of school times, but the seasonality isn't huge down there, so we don't actually use this function in Florida, but we do use it up in New Hampshire where we have a large seasonal difference. So if you are not in a seasonal market, then you don't have to use this feature, but it is a great feature for seasonal markets. So we just talked about markets that are weekend or week long, right? The weekend markets, another thing you can do is if people are only booking Friday through Saturday to Sunday maybe, then what you're gonna do is you change your rates on the other days. You can do this. So I can actually take it, so basically I can say, all right, Wednesday never books. So I'm gonna take my pricing down 15% on Wednesdays. I'm gonna take it down 10% on Thursdays. I'm gonna add 10% on Saturdays. And I'm gonna take it down like 8% on Monday or something like that. Because what I'm trying to do with this is I'm trying to take a weekend that they're going to book and make it a longer weekend. You know, just a little bit extra. Just like when you go into the store and it's like, oh, look at that candy bar right there by the register. I'll take that. Ours is like, hey, look at that Monday right there. It's a pretty good price. I'll take that. That's what you're looking for when you're doing something like that. If you are in a weekend market, again, another feature that you may or may not use. I do not use this in Florida, but I do use this in North Conway, Madison, and New Hampshire. So those are some of the features I use. There's still a lot of features that I don't use in there. Rounding, something I'm probably going to play with to try to get the prices to zeros. I heard Bill Faith talk about that in a podcast. So, hey, let's see if it works. There's also minimum weekend stay pricing and minimum far out pricing that's in there. I do not use that. I was using that, but I found that basically it did not take into account any of the other things I set up in there. So it was making my weekend pricings ginormous. Yeah, ginormous is a word. So I don't use that anymore because no one was booking. My weekend pricing that is normally $700 to $800 on a good property on a busy weekend was like $1,400, $1,500, $1,700, which was crazy. And I was going through Price Labs trying to figure out what is causing this. So I found out after playing that's causing that. Let's sum this up. Know your market. After you know your market, go to Price Labs and really start dialing it in. I'm always playing with Price Labs. I'm in there many times a week, dialing in the pricing of each of the properties, dialing in the minimum stays of each of the properties, changing my seasonal pricing. Like right now, probably gonna change the summer seasonal pricing because I'm seeing summer start to book up a little faster than I want it to. And we'll talk about kind of how I do that in another video and what I go through to look at how are we doing when it comes to pricing. Hope this helped you out. Go through your Price Labs. I'll talk to y'all later.